Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we are going to be reorganizing my eyeshadow palettes. Currently what you're looking at is all of the palettes that I ended up putting new shades into. So yes, we've got some Colourpop reorganizations in here, some Kaleidos, some Menagerie, some Too Faced, and we're gonna wreck some Jeffree Star palettes. So let's get started. Welcome if you're new here, welcome if you're a returning visitor. Thank you so very much for joining me today. My name is Maaike, I live in the Netherlands, and my main bread and butter here on YouTube is chatting about eyeshadow palettes, reviewing Essence and Catrice products, but also trying to get the use out of my makeup. And every single year I do a declutter, and I have just found that sometimes I find it difficult to get rid of palettes because there are a couple of shades in the palettes that I would like to hang on to. So what I like to do after I declutter my makeup is to sort of have a couple of palettes put to the side that I would like to reorganize. And that's what I've just finished filming for you. So we're gonna do lots of speed throughs. Some of these were magnetic palettes, some of these weren't. So I'll talk you to I'll also talk you through how I depotted some of these shades and how I made it work. There's some repressing that I've done as well, and there's just a whole lot of eyeshadow now that I can get rid of because some of these palettes are just absolutely destroyed, as you will see later in this video. So if you would like to see what's going on in all of these palettes right now, stay tuned. Okay, so I have to film this video into separate sections because there are different things I need to do with these things. So the first thing I need to do is to reorganize my Of Quartz and Sprinkle a Little Magic from Colourpop, because I want to reuse the Of Quartz to repurpose some of my Juvia's Place into. So these I want to declutter, but then there's a couple of shades that I want to repress into the pans that are going to end up in the Of Quartz, but that does mean that I will be selecting my favorite shades from the Sprinkle a Little Magic and my favorite shades from the Of Quartz to sort of make this into one palette, because I've now tried these, and as I was already swatching it, I kind of already knew that I didn't like all of these shades. Now, truth be told, now that I've used them, and my 10 palette review video will be up soon, so then you'll see the review. But yeah, then you'll see that I actually was able to pull some stunning looks out of it. I just don't love the formula in this larger pan from Colourpop. So I want to turn two palettes into one. And then we are going to be repressing 9 Juvia's Place shades into this palette and make it a purple palette. That's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to be filming the rest of the video. So this is the part I need to do first. So I think what I want to do is take all of these shades out and then rearrange it into a new 9 pan. And then, yeah, put it into this palette, and then I'll tell you what it was that I kept. So let me pull these out first. Alright, so these are the 8 that I know for sure that I would like to keep. It's most of the shimmers from the Of Quartz. This is the only shimmer that I won't be keeping from that palette because I have so many of these shades. I don't need this in this palette if I want something that light. I just don't necessarily need it. And of these greens, I think actually the 9th shade that I'm going to pull into this palette is this shimmer from the Sprinkle a Little Magic. So these 3 greens are from this palette, and this matte is from this palette, and then I think this brown as well. So I've got 5 shades from the Sprinkle a Little Magic. Let me put that one off to this side. And then these 4 shades are from the Of Quartz. So this is the darker shade that was in this corner, and then these, these 3 shimmers. There were some gray tones in here, and I just don't love gray tones on myself, even though I really liked this like silvery, like dirty, silvery kind of shade when I used it. That was quite surprising to me. This shimmer wasn't great. It's a little flaky, so I wasn't in love with it all that much. But I think it will be a nice addition to this palette. And if I pull in the lighter green, I can do an all green look. But I also think that these shades may be fun to have like a green inner corner or like a bright pop of something to mix it up. So that's what I would like to do. Now I just need to decide on like the color story. And since I only have 3 greens here, I think what I want to do is put this green here, this green here, and this green here, so that I have the 3 greens. This is a good blend shade, so I want to put that at the top. Maybe put the mattes through the middle, like that. And then that darker shimmer right there. That guy right there. And then these 2 shimmers can go like that. So this is now Off Quartz and Sprinkle a Little Magic combined. And these are the pans that I'm going to leave out of this because it's going to be easier for me to manage these pans and like break them up and repress some of these Juvia's Place shadows. So when I come back to this, I'll show you what these 9 pans look like, and then I'll join you again for organizing the Off Quartz and putting that palette together. I'll show you that in this video as well. So yeah, I've reorganized the Sprinkle a Little Magic, and this is now a palette where I'm like, yeah, it's like cool tone browns with pops of green. I think that will be pretty. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. So that's the first one we have reorganized. All right, so it's the next day. So I managed to pull all the shades from my 3 Juvia's Place palettes to put in my Off Quartz. And these are the shades. I think that makes for a pretty cohesive color story. What about you? So I've kept most of the like purpley shades. So let me show you which ones I pulled. So the ones I pulled from the Royal Nubian are the matte and that shimmer. So these are now decluttered. And then from the Magic, I took out all of this like shimmer row and then this bottom row. And I kept like half the pan inside of these because Juvia's Place pans come with a whole lot of shadow. So you only really need half what's in the pan to repress them into a much smaller one. And then from the Masquerade, I pulled these 2. So that's what I pulled. And now we're going to put these babies into here. Alright, so that palette is empty and my Off Quartz now looks like this. This is from the Magic. These 2 are from the Masquerade. These 2 are from the Royal Nubian, and then those other 4 are also from the Magic. So I've got my nice, a really cool, toned, colorful color story with lots of shimmers. I only have 1 matte in here, but I don't really mind that. The matte, however, I think is quite fragile. I don't think it repressed quite the way I'd like it to. And then we're going to keep going with reorganizing my Colourpop palettes, because I have quite a lot that I need to reorganize, that I need to change around, because these are things that I've now tried or that I want to somehow reorganize and redo some palettes with. So from these 3 smaller palettes with square pans, I want to pull 1 shade from this and 1 shade from the Color Vision and put both of those in the Ballad. These should be magnetic too. And then from this, I want to keep the cherry packaging, the Cherry Crush, but I want to just keep this 1 shade and then put the shades from the main squeeze in here. Then in the Dream Street, I want to keep the teal and that shimmer, but I'm going to take out all of the warm tone neutrals and the peachy shades, and I'm going to stick my High Tide shades in there. And then I'm going to take my shades from the Uh Huh Honey, because this no longer closes, and I'm going to take these shades and put them in the High Tide, because I like the cardboard packaging a lot more. And that's also the reason why I'm going to be reorganizing the Wine and Only and Orchid You Not. I think these 2 can work really well together. in terms of like, you know, how they combine. And I also felt there were quite a lot of warm tone purples in the Or Kid You Not. And I still have my packaging from the Flutterby, so this doesn't have any pans in. So I figured I could take 12 shades from these 18 and reorganize these into one cohesive palette. So I'm going to start with these baby things first. Right, so those are all of the Colourpop things. If it went too fast, I'll just talk you through it real quickly. So put all of my Uh Huh Honey shades into the High Tide. So this is now, well, empty. These are the warm tones and neutrals from the Dream Street. So those I put in here for now, but I'm going to be decluttering the Uh Huh Honey. And this is now the High Tide with 3 like aqua shades and that kaleidoscope shade from the Dream Street. So those can now go in there. So those I'm going to be keeping. This is pretty much the main squeeze, but I had already changed some of those shades out last year. And then I replaced one of the warmer peachy tones with this more vibrant pinkish toned red. And I like this color story even better. And to me, this is more of a cherry themed palette than the original. So that's what we're keeping. And then the main squeeze, I put all of the shades in from the original Cherry Crush. And then from the Cashmere Forever and Color Vision palettes, I pulled just one shade from the Cashmere Forever, which is this one. And then this one is from the Color Vision, and I feel that this now works a little bit better. It's like a very nice cool tone neutral color story, but then you have an unexpected pop of something like vibrant purple, which I like. So this is now my new Ballad palette. And then I have a very empty Or Kid You Not palette and a partially filled Wine and Only, because I decided to pull pretty much all the shimmers from these two palettes and some of the mattes to create a, well, reddish toned, warm toned purple sort of color story. So this I'm going to keep, and I'm going to be decluttering these two palettes. Now another brand that I would like to make some changes in is Menagerie. So these 6 shades from the Violet Ink, I feel don't really make for one look. It's very blue toned, and I felt that the blue tones in the Whale Song were sometimes a little too samey. So for me, whether I put this on the lid or this, it didn't make much of a difference. So I've already decided that I probably want to pull these two at least, possibly this bright green. I'm not sure yet, because I wouldn't know what other shade to pull from the Violet Ink, but these two are gonna go in here just to make this more blue toned. And then in the Flight Club, Let me show you that. So in this palette, I felt we got too many neutrals and like pink tones. So I was thinking that perhaps these 4 can go instead of, well, these 2 and this pink. And I'm not sure yet whether I want, because I do like this mauve tone. So I'll probably take out that brighter, like pink leaning purple, because I'm not a huge fan of that. So, and these should be magnetic as well. And then I can just keep the remaining shades in here for the time being. Right, so I've put 3 shades from the Violet ink in the Flight Club and 3 shades in the Whale Song palette. These were a little bit more difficult to remove. I found I had never reorganized a Menagerie palette before, so you do need something that is skinny enough to stick between the pans, because my magnet that I always use to do these kind of things, if palettes are magnetic, just wasn't strong enough to pull them out, because actually the entire palette is magnetic, rather than with the Colourpop where there's just a magnetic strip holding the pans in place. Like this entire palette is magnetic. So took a bit more effort. So these are the 3 shades from the Violet ink that I decided to put in here. I like the Menagerie shimmer formula a lot, and I felt that this way I could easily put an extra shimmer in the Whale Song palette, which would have my preference. And I just felt that this green was too similar to this when I blended it out. This green was too similar to that, and this blue shade was too similar to that when I started combining them in looks. And this way I have 2 extra blues, so I think that's pretty. And then from the Flight Club, as predicted, I pulled the 2 neutrally shades and the more pink toned. I decided to keep the vibrant purpley pink in here, because I do think it can work really well with some of these shades. And then I just put these 2 muted purpley shades. They're more blue toned, but I think, for instance, this will be a very pretty combo. And this together with that, like this is a bit more warm toned, and then I have a cooler tone transition. So for me, that would make it a little bit more sense. And then these cooler tone purples can also pull more cool toned. And then I put the shimmer from the Violet ink in here. Next up is the Kaleidos reorganization that I also wanted to do. These should also be magnetic, so quite easy to do indeed. This is the one I definitely want to keep, but I don't love how the Astro Pink has this like black with a shimmer. So that's why I want to take the black from the Sci-Fi Green and put that in here. And then the Sci-Fi Green, I really like the packaging of. And I actually, between filming my declutter and the point I'm filming this in now, I now know what I want to do to repurpose this packaging. So I'm going to break up these shades and like take them out, break up the shades, and I'm going to repress some shadows into here as well, because I actually have 6 shadows that I want to keep from another palette that I think will go perfectly with this palette. So then I don't have to get rid of the packaging, but... And then with this, I want to put this this pink shimmer in the Cyber Bronze. So let me see if I can pull these out, and then we'll do the repressing later. Right, so I've emptied out my Sci-Fi Greens, and what will I be doing with this? But this is the messiest job, so I'm going to leave it till the end. I've taken all of the pans out. I was able to hopefully show you that with a pin, you can sort of, there's a little bit of a space between the pan and the cardboard. So it looks like there is no space, but if you just feel for the edge of the pan and then pressing down slightly, you can slip something pretty narrow in between the pan and the cardboard. And I have this guy here. The one I will be decluttering is the VR Neons. And then this is going to be a job towards the end of this video, because then I can show you how I like to repress things. But now we're going to be filling up this Cliona palette with the destruction of my Jeffree Star collection. So in my declutter, I said I was going to get rid of all of my Jeffree Star products. but I do want to keep shades from these palettes. Now these all have cardboard inlays, so I need to take those out, and then I can like tear down the cardboard and get to the glue. However, I did bring out my hair dryer as well, so that should allow me to, once I've taken out the packaging, I can use my hair dryer, fingers crossed, to warm up the glue so that it's going to be easier to pry it away. And I've got like some cloth here and some like makeup wipes to hopefully not make much of a mess, which is why we're filming this on the declutter towel. I don't mind if this gets dirty. So I'm just going to speed you through that as well. I took a bit of a measurement, so I realized that the pans in the Jeffree Star palettes are roughly the same size as the ones from Lethal Cosmetics. So I did already test out with my Lethal Cosmetics shades how much I would be able to fit in here, and it seems to be 36 shades, which pretty much boils down to the exact number of shades I would like to keep from these 4 palettes. So that's what we're going to be doing. So this is the first time I'm doing this, so wish me luck, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a mess. I have my box cutters to help me out. Wish a girl luck. Right, so this is what's left of my Jeffree Star Bloodlust. I started with this one because it's like my least favorite one, so I was like, we'll see if we can wreck it. So as you can see, it's got a cardboard layer which I ripped off, for which I had to like take off the mirror and break it. Then you can sort of get to like erase part of the pan. And then I used the hairdryer to soften the glue, and as you can see, in some of the pans, I didn't even rip off any cardboard. These are the 6 shades that I would like to keep from the Bloodlust. I'm going to keep going with the other 4 palettes. Well, there's 3 left now, and this is ready for the trash. Ta-da! I have built myself a renewed Jeffree Star eyeshadow palette, and I think I really like it. So I've kept all the reds and pinks that I like, then I've got some like pinky purples, then I've got all the blues and teals that I like. Then I've got some of these like taupey shades from the cremated, and I've got all of the more like gray tone ones, and then these are also more like gray taupey shades. So there's 5 that I felt were too similar to things that were already in the cremated. That was one of my main things I didn't like about the palette, was that it was very one note. So by taking these 5 out, I feel I still have the variety, because I didn't need all of those shades. And yeah, I'm now surrounded by the wreckage of eyeshadow palettes. And what's perhaps good to know is that these are like now magnetic in this palette, so they won't just fall out. Even though I didn't even manage to be able to like take off all the glue and all that, if there was still a bit of residue there. So yeah, but they stick down really nicely. So that's now my reorganized Jeffree Star palette. Then, as inspired by Kat, who I just mentioned, she rearranged her Too Faced palettes into a new thing. And she used that hairdryer method that I was using for the Jeffree Star. So I thought I could just like try it and see if I can take these out. Again, I think the box cutter will be handy to like get in between the pans and take them out. And then I just need to make sure that I reuse the packaging that I like most. And it's going to be one of these 2. And then, yeah, I'll just see. I'm not sure. Because I think there's only like 1 or 2 shades from the gingerbread that I would like to keep. Yeah, 2 or 3, maybe 4. And then I do want to keep a couple of the sweet peach. And then I only want to keep a couple of that. But yeah, I could put 18 in one of these. So there's again one where I need to heat everything up and take out all the shades. And then from, for instance, this one, I'm just going to heat it up and take out the shades that I would like to keep. And that's it. Now I'm covered in eyeshadow, of course, so let me just do that. So I've cleared out the gingerbread spice completely, and that means I can keep 18 shades of these. So I've already discarded a few that I know I won't like. But now that I look at everything that I want to keep, there are quite a few, especially in the brown category, that are quite similar. So I don't think I need those. Plus, I'm not too much of a fan of these like light yellow, so I know I can discard that. But now I just need to sort of reorganize it so that I can decide how I want to put it in here. Put some new glue in here, and then I can just glue them into place. So I'm just going to have a play. I hope the blue mess that I made isn't too distracting here. And then let's just see how it all boils down. And there we have my reorganized Too Faced eyeshadow palette. I have to say, I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. Like, I've got 2 rows of shimmers, so one of like the lighter shimmers and then one of the more mid-tone and deeper shimmers and then a full row of mattes. I think this works pretty well. So these I can now declutter. Those are the ones, and then I have one more task, which is to break these up and to repress them into this palette. So this I need to put to the side for now. So then again, I like to take my trusty tool. I'm not sure how these are gonna repress, but I'm just going to start with this one in the corner right here, and I'm just going to put it in the little dish, and then I'm going to repress it. Right, so I managed to pull all of these out of the Beauty Bay palette. We'll see once they dry down whether these are gonna last. I have no clue. So I'm just going to put the darkest shade here. Now, something that I noticed as I was repressing these is that these Beauty Bay palettes, they don't have a lot of product. I mean, these Kaleidos pans just look so much smaller than the Beauty Bay ones, and yet I barely can fill a pan with whatever came from the Beauty Bay palette. I'm not sure, like some of these look a little bit chunky. That's probably to do with the formula. But yeah, we'll see whether these keep working now that I've repressed them. We'll see how it goes. So that would be the Kaleidos. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I just laid everything out for you right now. So it's sort of like a 50-50 split now. And I think it's just going to be easier for me to go back to these. So yeah, I think what I'm just going to do, because these are now new palettes to me, of course. And of course, with some of these shades, for instance, the Beauty Bay stuff, I've never repressed those before. So I don't know how these are going to keep. Like, are these going to still work really well after I've repressed them? I don't know. I know Juvia's Place palettes have no, those shadows can be repressed quite easily, but the Beauty Bay formula, I have no clue. So maybe at some point, I still have, I think, at least one round of like 10 palettes where I need to talk about new stuff. But the plan is, in the future, whenever I do a 10 palette review, to also rope in old things. And perhaps these can be some of the things I can then try as part of my 10 palette review, because essentially I've just created my own palettes. What do you guys think of that idea? Let me know in a comment down below. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching this video today. I create several videos a week, so please subscribe if you'd like to see more by me, because I do come on here regularly with something new for you, and often it's about eyeshadow palettes. So thank you very much for joining me today. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Take care.